Hello, and welcome to our presentation. Today, in this session about Rocket Consumption Insights, we'll look at understanding consumption and workloads for Z using advanced analytics. My name is Craig, and in this session, I will provide a product demo using the delivered web-based dashboards for Consumption Insights. Before the demo, let's briefly review the architecture for Consumption Insights and how we use SMF data to power the platform. You can see we're using ZOS and SMF records. These are the 70, 72, and 30 SMF records, which are records that you're already collecting as part of the input to your SCRT process. We move the records off platform and load them into Rocket Consumption Insights, which can run on Linux, Z-Linux, or Windows. So we're doing all the ingestion and processing off platform, not contributing to overall ZOS consumption. We group the records and process them into an Elasticsearch repository, and then use Kibana to use the analytics in a web application viewer so that users can interact with the data in an analytics fashion, in live fashion, and iterative look using web tools. So now let's get started with the demo. What I'd like to do then is jump directly into the Rocket Consumption Insights product. Here you can see that I've accessed a dashboard and I have a full complement of functions that I can access. This particular dashboard is the consumption and cost monitoring dashboard associated with tailor-fit pricing. We have deliver the product with several dashboards. You can see those listed in green. We deliver these dashboards as model dashboards, and they're configured associated with roles and functions within your organization. You can see a business applications manager dashboard, consumption and cost monitoring, which we'll be working on today, director dashboard, IT operations manager dashboard, and IT performance capacity management. These dashboards are delivered as models so that you can begin working in the product right away, doing your analytics, and also as models for future dashboards for your various stakeholders. Here you can see the consumption and cost monitoring dashboard. I'll scroll down and show you the various KPIs that are available. We have the MSU solution. We have the analysis by LPAR. We have application and workload to workload groups, report classes, service classes. A full complement of various KPIs are delivered with the product. We have program categories, applications. This dashboard is really focused on consumption. And as I said earlier, we'll begin some work with the analysis of the specific dashboard. Here we can see that we are tracking our solution budget. So this would be a tailor-fit pricing, where each month we track the budget that is remaining and the budget that is consumed. You can see that we ran into a problem in June, and ever since June, middle of the year, we've been over-consuming. So the question really is, what is really driving our overconsumption? And that's something that we would want to investigate further. We'll demonstrate quickly how you can use the various KPIs to gather additional information for that investigation. Deliver a full complement of filters where you can filter on sysplexes. You can interact with the data for CPCs or various entities. So these would be business units or market segments of your business. And certainly LPARs. You can see that our information readily adjusts and it interacts. So this is interactive for the user. Here, I've excluded my production systems, so I can see that my test systems are well within their test budget. So it appears that my problem is very likely associated with production. So we can look at the information from various dimensions as we're displaying here. Every button within the product is a toggle, and then we can begin to look at time ranges. So here we have an entire set of preset time ranges. We deliver presets with the product, and then we also have metric presets. There are the full complement of various time ranges that you can work with the various KPIs. Let's scroll down and begin to look a little bit further. And what I want to focus on is by LPAR. So I want to expand this, and you can see here that we have isolated March 2nd through July 31st. Let's say that I would like to hone in on the time period where maybe I started creating my overages, And perhaps I want to really hone in on particular dates and times. So you can see as I choose the various dates and times that my analytics begins to change and I start seeing some patterns emerge. So here I have very high utilization. And I can begin again to isolate and analyze the data in various dimensions. Again, I can see my utilization. In various dimensions. If I want to, I can actually propagate this to my other KPIs so that I'm looking at the same time period. And perhaps I don't want to include everything. So now you can see as I move down through my KPIs, I now am looking at the same time frame where I can begin to really analyze my data further and further. As I scroll down and begin to continue, you can see patterns emerge where I'm starting to identify that I'm having high batch processing. And this will lead me to additional information associated with perhaps I want to investigate this SDC high and then my batch because this is where the primary parts of my workload are. And these are certainly contributing to the primary reason why I've created the overage. As I continue to work through my analysis, I can analyze specific programs. You'll notice this has a defined mapping where I can show you specific mapping. These would be programs. This is my highest consumer. Map workloads together. I can specify qualifications for entire workload group names, or I can use symbolics to group things together in higher orders. And here I have my entities associated with my LPARs and then my various parts of my business. I can also include program categories such as DB2, my major program products, and even my customized program products. Here you can see my applications and grouped together by job names. And report classes specified to my report class policies, service classes, and then the LPARs grouped together as well. We can also manage subscriptions for your stakeholder users where they can have specific dashboards and they'll receive an email at whatever frequency that you want based on the ingestion of your data and refreshing of new data. You can manage your users here and give them very specific functions customized for the user. Here, I want to show you briefly the TFP configuration. As you saw, we were using a solution MSU, but we can use various solutions. So it is not excluded to a tailored fit pricing. Here, I can specify a subcapacity pricing, and then I can list all of my LPARs, and I could have a very specific solution. In fact, I could have a combination solution for my environment. So for instance, if I had some LPARs or some plexes that for whatever reason were still on R4H or subcapacity pricing, I could do that. And then also have environments where I have full tailored fit pricing. You can see here that this would be a tailored fit pricing. It's MSU metrics. And I have an entire solution. And this is my baseline MSU. And I'm calculating MSU based across the entire environment. Kind of an equal split, if you would. And then finally, for my solution C, which we're working in, you can see that I've varied my budget for my various LPARs, which is very doable. And in fact, if I go to the budget analysis in my solution C, you can see that I have various months where I have higher processing. So for instance, if you are an organization or parts of your business have variable seasonal processing, you can in fact associate the various seasonal processing, and this would be accommodated both in your solution for your tailor fit pricing, and you can accommodate it in your mappings to accurately track your progress toward your solution budget for tailor fit pricing. We'll return to our dashboard. And I wanted to show you briefly what it would look like to be able to add a KPI. We have deliver a full complement of KPIs, and each of these KPIs, as you can see, I can do the analysis based on R4H or MSU. This would be associated with the tailor fit pricing. And I have a secondary metric, which would typically be total, but I could specify secondary metrics. And I can have additional and associate this with a solution. For some KPIs, there are actually subordinate KPIs that will give you additional details. So for instance, I wanted to choose this analysis, we deliver a full set of subordinate KPIs so that you can have your information based on predefined filters for those specific KPIs as well. Finally, I want to show you, we want to isolate the MSU. Then I want to flip this, and then you can see very plainly how I've decremented and I've consumed my available budget, and my costs continue to rise. I would use this opportunity to, again, analyze the data to see if I could figure out what is contributing to my cost and look at opportunities for optimization or efficiency, or perhaps it's expected and I've had application release or things like that that would have contributed to the additional cost. Okay. You can actually have customized dashboards, which would show up for your individual users. These would be application or delivered dashboards that multiple users have access to. Your users could complete and actually configure their own dashboards as well. And then you can also have additional the definitions for Elasticsearch or other database information. And thank you for watching today, and this concludes our demonstration.